The early beginning of Valenwood history is shrouded in mystery and speculation, as is the history of the world. When Nirn came into existence and its form stabilized, the Bosmer had no defined shape. They would change and shift unconsciously and against their will. Ifrit took pity on them and granted them a stable form that they still bear to this day. In return, he demanded a price for the Bosmer to be his wardens, guardians, and sentinels, the Green Pact. For the rest of Dawn and Merethic eras, the Bosmer dwelled in the vast forests of Valenwood, developing their culture, honing their skills. They lived as small villages or clans, often isolated from others, sometimes competing for resources. During this period, they have also mastered nature magic in the form of greenspeak. In the Middle Merethic era, the Bosmeri came in contact with the Aldmer, who upon discovery of Tamriel sought to conquer it for themselves. No records or tales remained of the first contact between Bosmer and Aldmer. I do not think it was a violent one. Throughout history, the Bosmer have proved themselves to be welcoming and tolerant of outsiders. Perhaps the Aldmer considered them long-lost cousins now found, and they all celebrated their reunion. Perhaps. It is also possible that, for a while, both races lived alongside each other, oblivious to the existence of their kin. The forest is hard to navigate after all, and it conceals those who wish not to be found. Either way, the settlers built their white stone cities throughout the continent. Most of the time, they enslaved the local populations, however the Bosmer were spared this fate. In Valenwood, the two races coexisted, and in the late Merethic era, Eplir Cameron begins his quest of unifying the Bosmer people under a single rule. It was no easy task, however, he succeeded. With him taking the crown, the Cameron dynasty began, as well as the beginning of the First Era. The newly founded Aelid Empire used the unified Bosmer nation as a shield to distance themselves from the Altmer crown. Therefore, it was in their best interest to keep good relation with the Wood Elves. The Bosmer cared little for the affairs of the world outside of their border, but they did not seek conquest, so they strived for peace, or at least neutrality. Because of this, they accepted human slaves escaped from Aelid cruelty, as well as the Aelid themselves, who following the Alessian rebellion of 242nd year of First Era, fled the war. Many have found refuge in the forests of Valenwood. Not long after, the diplomats of fresh Alessian Empire and the Cameron dynasty made a trading pact, bringing both nations closer. This cooperation would not last, as soon the Imga Maruk gained fame as a seer and a prophet. His teachings gained a lot of traction in Cyrodiil. Many of his worldviews were pro-human and anti-elven, and with the wounds of the rebellion and scars of enslavement still fresh in the mind of Alessians, it is no surprise he rose to power, forming a theocracy. The First Empire's relation with Valenwood quickly deteriorated following the 361st year of First Era. As the tensions rose, the Nords, following their own war with the Falmer and lending a helping hand to the Alessian rebellion, quickly adapted Maruk's teachings, and in 369th year, the Nord High King Borgas rallied his troops and marched south to root out the elves. The ever so pragmatic Bosmer took this threat seriously and pulled no punches. Upon crossing the border, Borgas's army was assailed by Bosmer, who have unleashed the wild hunt on their foes. This was an example set by the Wood Elves, and it was heeded well. Such devastating defeat of the Nordic army show that the Bosmer are not to be underestimated. This resulted in Valenwood being left alone for nearly all of the remainder of First Era. They avoided struggles and turmoil that gripped every major power in the world at that time. Nobles bribed, kings assassinated, armies clash, empires rise and fall, but the Bosmer endured in their wilderness unbothered. With the release of Thracian plague in 2200 of First Era by the Slode, the Wood Elves could no longer take sidelines of history. While they couldn't contribute vessels to the All Flags Navy due to restrictions of the Green Pact, they had no qualms about sending some of their best warriors and mages. The sea campaign proving successful, peace once more came over Valenwood. Following 60 years of the plague and slow vile sorcery, the Wood Elves set to recuperate their losses. Over 400 years later, for truly petty reasons, in 2920th year of First Era, a central leader summoned Daedric Prince Molagbal to Bosmeri town of Gilverdale. The Prince of Lies decimated a local population and utterly destroyed the city. The reason? Khajiit leader was not pleased by a performance of a Wood Elf bard. This act of senseless death only deepened the distrust between the two races. A new power emerges. Riemann Cyrodiil unites the Colovia and Nibelungs and established the Second Empire in 2730 year. It isn't clear how or why Valenwood became a part of Riemann's empire. Some believe it was weak leadership, others say it was genuine hope for prosperity, yet others say the Valenwood's conquest lasted for at least a decade. Whatever the truth, it officially was a province of the Second Empire from 2714th year until its collapse in 430th year of Second Era. During this time, the imperial presence in Valenwood only grew, if only around the coastal regions. Examples of that would be the cities of Southpoint or Woodhearth, both of which began as trading posts founded near the end of First Era. From 430th year onwards, Valenwood returned to self-governed independent state, that is, until several factions sought to consolidate power and new alliances were formed. In 499th year, a religious and cultural differences among the Bosmer culminated in Black Sap Rebellion. Seeking allies, the Altmer of Somerset Isles intervened and ended the infighting in 580th year of Second Era. One of the contenders of the rebellion, Eredan Cameron, was declared High King of the Bosmer, backed by the Altmer. In return, the Bosmer would be part of the First Aldmeri Dominion, along with elsewhere.